back, everybody, to the Nerdcore interview series. And today we're here for an interview for the Slamdance 2023 Festival. As always, it is your host, Raul Mendoza. And today I'm here with the director of the short film Mela, Kristian Mercado. Hello, Kristian. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for giving us your time, and thank you for sending this film out. I was really excited to watch this after I saw the trailer, and
Oh, thanks.
I was really intrigued into what you were gonna do on this. Can you tell us a little bit about Mela?
Yeah, Mela's got a long life. Like it's been like something I've been working on for like maybe 3 years. The short is just kind of a step further in its development. I was kind of written as a feature script and then like received a Cine Reach grant. And I think you can pretty much use the grant however you want. So I kind of opted to kind of try to develop a short, basically just kind of focused on one scene. And Mela is essentially a story about like a reggaeton backup dancer who's trying to like balance her life out, like being a single mom, but also pursuing her dream of dance. And I think it's an interesting story in the sense that it's like something very. I think a lot of Latinos kind of deal with it, where it's like this idea of having like responsibilities and then also like pursuing your dream and like how do you balance those things out. And I don't really try to answer the question so much, but I kind of just explore what it is to like have a dream and like, but also like this kind of burden of like responsibility.
Yeah. So the film revolves a lot around this reggaeton dancer, and I wanted to ask you why, in particularly, did you concentrate on reggaeton? Is there something about the genre that draws you in, or was
Yeah.
it something like, oh, I've always been interested in this?
I think reggaeton is kind of like for me, like at this point, a little spiritual, like sort of, which is funny to say. Like a lot of it's something that kind of came out of Panama and Puerto Rico, and like I love and the genre really took off in Puerto Rico and something about reggaeton and Puerto Rico are like super connected and like they're almost inseparable at this point. And I think like for me cinematically the idea of telling a story in reggaeton cinematically because I think reggaeton travels a lot. Like it's like global music at this point. It's kind of like not just Latin America, not just America, it's like global. So like but it comes from a small island, like Puerto Rico's really tiny. It's like not a big place. So it's interesting too because like Puerto Ricans have like so little power and so little political power and so little autonomy. And so for us to have such a big voice in a genre yet have so little power, I don't know. I'm interested in that. And I think like telling stories in that space is important. And I don't know, it's something I respect a lot. Like I want to investigate a lot in my work, hopefully.
So, Mela Murder stars in the film as your titular character, Mela. Is this the first time you worked with Mela Murder?
No, me and Mela have had a a long history of working together. We're kind of like a brother and sister duo at this point in some ways. Like we kind of first started working on something called Palante, but I've known about her for years, and I followed her work, and you know, we're just really good friends, and we're just super tight at this point. But
Yeah.
I really see a lot in her, and like I think the short is really like a reflection of her. Like
Mm-hmm.
she is a single mom, and so I think a lot of the story kind of revolves around kind of experiences that are similar to things that she's experienced, and us kind of like working together to kind of create something that feels like, you know what I mean, like truthful to her. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think like when she's like, in a way, it's interesting because like so much of that story is kind of cut from her story that I think there's a lot of power in the way she performs it and how inseparable she is from the performance and the character. And I don't know. I feel really honored that she's like kind of worked on it with me for so long. So I think it's a long journey that we've been on with that project.
Mm-hmm. And how does it feel to be able to work with her, like, and having that trust with her? Because you say it's like, a lot of this is part of her story and it is bits and pieces of like what her life is, and how does it feel to be able to gain that trust to portray this story on the screen?
That's a good question. I think it's really, as a director and actor, it's really important to have like a sense of kind of play and trust between each other, like kind of like where nothing's too sacred in a sense, like where it's like, oh, like let's try different things or different performances or different takes, and like let's develop this character together. And like, you know, with an actor, I guess like the performance is really going to come from them no matter what, you know? So like they're going to be the driving factor of it. So I think it's like honing in on what they like bring to the character and letting that evolve from them. And you know, I think it was just exciting to like I think it's just cool that we're just like so chill. Like me and Mela
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like have a shorthand, and like I feel like it's just like really like like easy to work together. And like I think, yeah, it's building trust, and sometimes that takes a long time. Sometimes that's just like being vulnerable on set, creating vulnerability in film. I think
Mm-hmm.
if you're doing film right, in my opinion, like you're kind of creating vulnerable spaces for people to be able to like kind of be honest, you know, and tell their stories, and kind of experiment and like kind of discover things. So like I think that for me, that's part of my process. So like I do need to kind of foster that and create like an environment where people can kind of just speak freely, you know. And I think like
Mm-hmm.
that's a big part of our process when me and Mello work.
Yeah. The film itself is really about balance. Is something that I took away from it. You know, Mela is trying so hard to find a balance between chasing her dream, but also doing her duty as a mother and being able to take care of her daughter. Uh, did you ever find any difficulty in approaching portraying that balance? And
Mm.
what was what something that you took from your experience working on the film in portraying that?
Oh yeah, balance is always like a kind of a difficult thing. It's something I think we all struggle with, you know, in modern society, and like with things changing as they are all the time. And so I think yeah, it was difficult to show like what that balance was, or to show that struggle. And like I think it was like the film is so like subtle and nuanced in a way that like it was kind of like a delicate balance to figure that out narratively, and it took us a lot of editing to kind of decide how to tell that story and how to like find that story. And I think we also just pulled a lot from our own experiences about like how do we deal with balance in our lives, and like what is the struggle of balance, and is it even something you can accomplish, you know, like is it even achievable? Like in a way, like sometimes it feels like it's a losing battle when you're trying to just like find perfect balance, you know. So you kind of have to find like something and just pursuing it, you know, and not like necessarily landing on it.
Yeah. Uh, and finally, what would you like people to take away from this film?
You know, I think with any film, like your hope is that they feel something. Like I hope the audience watches it and has like an experience and has like some sort of feeling that they can kind of walk away from, and like kind of just, you know, I also like want it to be like an honest portrayal of like I think motherhood, you know, and like I think that's important to me. Like I have grew up with a single mother too, and like I think those experiences informed a lot of my life, you know. And so when I look at this film, I think of it as like somewhat a little bit of a love letter to that struggle, but not like in a, like, it's like one of those things where you want to show it in a nuanced way. Like I want people to see the humanity of like Mela, and like see, because it's really easy to like kind of paint a character and like not have it be nuanced and not have it be like layered, you know. And I think my hope is that they watch it and they're like kind of walk away with a feeling, whatever the feeling is, you know. Like I don't even want it to be a specific feeling. It could be like joy or sadness or regret, or like, or they see their own mother, or they see themselves as a kid, or so I think it's really up to the audience to decide like what they kind of walk away from with it. But I hope that they come out of it watching it with an earnest feeling about something, and and maybe they don't need to have an answer to like what some of these questions the film I think proposes are. It's really more about just asking the question or feeling something.
All right. Once again, great job on the film. You did an incredible
Thank you.
job. There's a very pleasing type of visual language that the film
Thank
has. That
you.
it was really nice to see it, and I
Thank
wish
you.
you the best of luck on the rest of the festival circuit with this film.
Thank you,
And
man. Yeah.
let them know exactly when, what time they can watch this at Slam Dance. Is it going to be
Oh
available on
yeah.
virtual cinema?
Yeah, there's definitely it's on the virtual cinema, US region only. Definitely buy a ticket to Slamdance. You can just watch it from home. But if you're at the festival the 23rd, 5 I believe, at it's playing before Downwind. So
Mm-hmm.
you kind of just catch it at Utah in Park City.
All right. And if we want to keep up with your journey and the journey of the film, is there anything that we can follow?
Yeah, definitely. Follow me at Chris Merc at Instagram. So like that's KrisMerc on Instagram, and that's probably the easiest way to follow my stuff. Oh, and I'm on Twitter too, which is Chris underscore Merc, which is KRIS underscore MERC. I'm not very active on Twitter, but like, hey, it's 2023. I'm trying new stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I respect that. We're just trying to keep up with the journey of Mela and see if where this movie will end up playing. So
Thank you.
I thank you for your time. Thank you for letting me watch this film, yo. Make sure you watch Mela on the virtual cinema, or if you're in Park City, Utah, make sure you go check that out. And of course, this has been the Nerdcore interview series. Thank you so much, Chris. I just hope for the best for the film.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right, goodbye, everybody.